Gratitude. Today is Friday, September 7th, 2018, and we're live from the Finger Lakes One studios in Seneca Falls, New York, so welcome. So I wanted to start today, often I share stories or research or quotes about gratitude, but I wanted to share a story from my own life that relates to being a Girl Scout, because we're going to talk about Girl Scouting a little bit later in the show. So one of the things that I'm really grateful for is that I had a chance to be a Girl Scout growing up. And when I was young, I grew up in New Hampshire and had the chance to submit an essay to get the chance to go to the 75th birthday of Girl Scouting. So I wrote an essay, and my essay was chosen, and I won, and I had the chance to go as a 12-year-old to Washington, D.C., which was a really big deal. And it was just a life-changing event. So while I was there, I met the senator for New Hampshire, Senator Rudman, and I also had the chance to meet Nancy Reagan, which was amazing as a 12-year-old girl. It was fabulous. But I'm just grateful for the doors that Girl Scouting opened for me and the things that I learned then that I use in my everyday life. So really grateful for Juliet Lowe for starting Girl Scouting and for all the volunteers that keep it going for girls today. So with that, I want to welcome my guests today. So I have Wendy Cobreda from Fayetteville and Lisa Baker from Cazenovia. So welcome, ladies.
Thank you, Katie.
It's good to have you here.
We're thrilled to be here.
Good. So I like to start off with having my guests introduce the other. So would you introduce us, Wendy, to Lisa?
Yes, I'd like to introduce you to Lisa Baker, my dear friend, who is a woman, I would say, who wears many hats. Lisa is, what can I say about Lisa? Lisa is an executive coach. She helps executives with the development. She is also a yoga teacher. She knows so much about leadership, and she knows a lot about gratitude. She is somebody who has brought so much knowledge in these areas to me that she's just a person that I love having in my life. That is Lisa.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
And would you introduce us to Wendy?
I would love to introduce you to Wendy. This is my dear friend, Wendy, and I knew that I was going to have this opportunity today, and I was thinking about the essence of Wendy, and she really is, the first word that popped into my head this morning when I was thinking about this is smart. Oh my God, smart. And engaging. When you're in Wendy's presence, you just feel good. You just feel good.
You're so sweet.
Wonderful. So I've known her to have several different jobs. Right now, she's the director of marketing at the New York Penn. Am I saying this correctly?
NYPEN Pathways.
NYPEN Pathways. Thank you. But truly, her essence is in her warmth and engaging presence.
Why, thank you.
Beautiful. Welcome to you both. So let's start off our conversation talking about something you're most grateful for in the last year. And either of you can go first.
After you?
After me. Something that I'm really most grateful for. Well, I think the thing that I'm really grateful for is the things that didn't work out. Because sometimes you win and sometimes you learn, and the past year has been a lot of learning for me. So maybe things didn't work out the way I had hoped they would a year ago, but they've worked out, and I've learned a lot along the way. So, just that is great.
It's a great perspective too.
I would have to say health and perspective. I've had a number of challenges over the past few years where I have got to tell you that I just wasn't quite sure where things were going. And I think what's kept me steady is this ability to connect with other people and to understand that we all have our challenges. It really doesn't matter what it is. And if you can keep perspective to understand that, we are all going to be thrown curves, that you can look at yourself as part of one collective and to kind of keep your mind focused on what the big prize is. So no matter what your problem is, you're going to be fine. That's what I think I'm most grateful for, is that ability to connect and to keep that perspective.
So important. So what about if you think about your whole life? Is there something that bubbles to the top that you're just most grateful for?
Yeah, I'm very grateful for just, the ability to that I have grown to have a much more self-awareness. That ability, the ability of a human being we're the only mammals that have that kind of self-awareness of self, and that has grown in me, and I think that has grown me, my ability to be self-aware. And so that's the thing that I'm most grateful for, is that I have this brain that can be present and be mindful, and that has been a game changer.
Awesome. And probably what fuels your work, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
For me, it's really connections, unexpected connections, serendipity. I look at my career over the years, and I think not only my career, my personal life, it's interwoven. I mean, the ability to meet you, Katie, for example.
See, and I think when I think of you, serendipity is a great word to describe.
I love her answer right now.
Yeah,
because
beautiful.
I love that I just randomly went to one of your meetings.
Right.
The Believe, Inspire, Grow thing. That was total serendipity, and we've been friends ever since.
We have.
And I love that was your answer. That was so perfect.
It's what led me. I mean, the fact that I'm a Girl Scout, I was a Girl Scout many years ago. My daughter was a Girl Scout. It was pure serendipity, honestly, that I was able to meet Julie Dale, who is the CEO of Girl Scouts, and to have the ability to basically come in and consult for a while at our organization, and then to be chosen to be the Chief Marketing Officer. To have the ability to impact so many lives by working and taking the best of the people that we have, and to find what their magic talents were, if you will, their superpowers, to connect those dots, and then to take people like Lisa, or to meet you, and to be able to weave all these pieces together. Those are the things I'm most grateful for, is the connections that you wouldn't see that unless you step back. So that's what I'm grateful for.
Beautiful thing.
Love it.
Yeah, and you're doing great stuff.
Yeah.
I think we are. It's us.
are.
It's us together. No one person. We're not an island, right?
That's true. So talk to me about what you're most grateful for in the other. And either of you can go first.
Oh, I think Aunt Wendy was just explaining it so beautifully. I'm grateful the quality in Wendy that I'm most grateful for is this engaging way that you have with people. And I've met so many wonderful people through you. You are such a connector of people, and you just continue to grow this wonderful network around you. When I think about the people that I've met through you, it's really amazing.
I think, love and friendship is, it's a weird thing. It's bigger. If you try to contain, the more you contain your group or your network, the smaller it is, right? I think love and friendship, it's expansive. And the more you open yourself up, the greater the gifts. Mm-hmm. So, and that's one of the things I think I've learned about you, too. One of the things I love about you is that you're always open to new ideas. I mean, for you to just fly across the world to learn about leadership. Lisa's done so many cool things with her career, just to basically decide that what you were doing was not enough in your career. You wanted more fulfillment.
Right.
And to express that vulnerability to the rest of us, to your friends, and say, you know what? I want to do something different. You gave a lot of us courage, I think, by expressing your own doubts about what was going on in your life. And I love when people are really honest and able to basically say, hey, I need a little help here. Am I right? Am I crazy? But I need a little strength from the sisterhood. And it's to bring it back to Girl Scouts in a way. Whether or not you're a scout doesn't really matter. But what we find, I think, through each other, when you find connections with other people, is that strength. When you find connections, and I think that's what we found, and that's one of the things I admire about you. You're willing to make that connection.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Yeah, thanks.
It's a beautiful thing. So
let's hold hands.
Come on, kumbaya.
How about do you have a gratitude practice, either of you? And can you share that?
Yes, I definitely have a gratitude practice. I have some daily rituals, and gratitude is one of them. Gratitude practice actually falls at the end of my day in my daily practice, the habits that I have as part of my day, and it's just jotting down. It's really simple. It's just jotting down. Sometimes it's just one big thing, and I might scribe about it for a few minutes, and other times it's just a very simple list. But it's at the end of the day, and it's part of the closure that I do for my end of day, put myself to sleep habit. So
awesome.
I wish I could tell you I had like some really great practice, but I don't. But I do like to surprise people with compliments, like something that's really genuine, or I like to do something that somebody's not expecting and not tell anybody about it. It's my little secret. So we're often in situations where if you can pay it forward, it makes you feel good. Mm-hmm. And if you can pay it forward and not say something about it, it makes you feel doubly good. So I try every day to make sure I say something genuinely, honestly good about somebody and make them feel good.
And I see that in you, and I could have included that when I was introducing Wendy. I see that now, and that's what Wendy does intuitively is something that we actually teach in leadership classes, how to authentically see somebody at their essence and compliment them or acknowledge them, kind of different from a compliment. And you do that so beautifully and just so intuitively.
I didn't realize that was one of the
we
steps.
actually teach somebody how to do an acknowledgement.
People that work with you, I guarantee they value that.
Yeah.
Well, that's good to know.
That's awesome.
That's something I've got to keep in there, and then I guess teach other people how to do, because I think it's important to do that with our kids, with our spouses, with everyone.
Will, especially with the young people, because their ability to see somebody at their essence will grow them as leaders. I mean, think about it when you're a manager and you can see the individuals that work on your team and see their essence and know who they are more than the skills that they bring to the table, then you're really seeing them, right? And you do that.
Thank you. The word gratitude has an I and a U in it. And I remember I was thinking about this one day, I wrote a post about it, that it's a two-way street. If I see you and you see me, suddenly it's bigger. It's that what's that wonderful word when something is bigger than two things? I don't
know.
I can't think of the name of it. But anyway, something that's bigger than two things. It's when you put one and one together and it makes three. There's a good word for it, but gratitude goes beyond.
Coming to me.
Yeah, I know. Isn't it crazy? It's this brain over here.
It'll come to you as
well. But it will, as we're walking through, we'll come up with that name. But I think it's great to be able to share something with somebody, but it's even better. And I think that when you ask us to think about gratitude, it comes more naturally, especially when you're with other people that can feel it and express it. Somehow or another, it just makes everything better. Not to say that we're all Pollyannas. I think there's nothing more grating than having somebody who's constantly happy or constantly, it's a false gratitude. Yeah. Have you ever encountered that?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
But usually they're not happy.
No.
Yeah, no. It's the facade they put on. Yeah. It's that face. Yeah.
So I admit I'm grumpy.
What's yin and yang?
The full range of emotions, right?
Yeah. But when you feel it, and you know it. It's like, one of those things. So.
Yeah. But it's how you navigate life, right? So you find out sometimes what you want by knowing what you don't want, or what you like by finding things you don't like. And,
that's true.
And I was talking with someone about this recently. She's like, I remember being a young person and feeling like I had wasted so much time when I got through an exercise or a project and I realized I didn't like it. And I was like, no, you're learning. Like that's right. It.
That's my gratitude for the year. That's always my gratitude is I'm really glad I didn't get the job, because now I'm on to something better, right? I didn't get the whatever it was that I was hanging on tight that I wanted to get.
I love that kind of perspective, and I've had that in my life, and I'm like, oh, thank goodness the universe knew better than me.
I escaped.
I did not have the right idea.
I dodged the bullet, right?
Absolutely.
Yes. So sometimes I ask if people teach their children about gratitude. I actually don't know if you have children, Lisa.
I don't have children.
Okay, but it sounds like you teach your clients about gratitude.
It is part of the conversation oftentimes. Yeah.
And how about for you? Did you teach your daughter about
Oh,
gratitude?
goodness, yes. I mean, it's always please and thank you. And it's funny, my daughter just yesterday told me that she has a short fuse. And she said, I think it's because you raised me right, because people don't always say thank you. And people don't always, chew with their mouth closed. And I'm like, honey, honey, you've got it. Take a deep breath. It's funny. I think that you can go overboard with that. It's really difficult. It's good to be grateful. It's good to have manners. It's good to say thank you, but you can also go a little bit too far. And so it's trying to keep that balance and that perspective to know when you're being a little bit, you're sticking a little bit too much to protocol.
Yeah.
But my children know that I love them. My husband knows, I love him. My friends, I think, know that. I'm probably guilty of hugging a bit too much, but it's kind of hard not to do that, And I think they learn from us. So
yeah, that's okay.
It's all good.
It's all good. So how about in the communities that you live in? Are there things that you're grateful for about where you're living? And
can we stop? Well, I can tell you something there. We had I was alluding to health issues. We had some serious health issues in our family a few years ago. My son was part of the baseball community. My daughter played soccer at the time. And I'm telling you, there was nothing like the outpouring of support we got during this. And when the community comes together like that, and that was a time of sorrow. But when there are happy times too, my goodness, we all come together. That's another thing too. There's nothing like having this I think woven group of people that share in each other's joys. And it could be as exciting as knowing that one of our friends' sons or daughters is off, and on Broadway. That's an exciting thing. Or somebody else got into a college and got a scholarship. Or, hey, somebody who's been struggling really hard and has Asperger's, or who has whatever, is, getting into a place where they're more independent. It's the little things that make us all happy, I think. Mm-hmm. And so to be able to share those joys and those pains together is what makes a community,
Absolutely. Yeah. Yes, and so Wendy and I don't live you already told everybody that we live in different towns, and I have to say that the town of Cazenovia, the village of Cazenovia where I live, I moved away for a little while and then moved back because we have such an amazing community, and you've been in the Cazenovia community with me and others. Everything that Wendy just described, we have such a strong sense of community, and everybody looks out for everybody else, and there's all these familiar strangers. Everybody walks through the neighborhoods, and you see people, and that sense of community. That's just, it's almost an intangible. It's like this invisible quality in the air.
Absolutely.
You just feel it. Yeah.
No, it's beautiful.
Very
and I think
for that.
I love that you shared that it's not just the happies, it's the sads too. And I think it's really important for people to remember that it's helpful for the person who can help. You need to let people in to help, because when you're of service to other people, that's also something that they're grateful for. We all need to go both ways as humans, right? We need to.
So I'll tell you too, everybody does meal trains, for example, and somebody's ill. My husband was in the hospital right around Christmas time, and people kept asking, what can we do? There's only so many casseroles you can have. They were all delicious, but I had an idea where I had thought that everybody could help us decorate, and I asked everybody to bring just an ornament with their name on it. And so people came, and they made ornaments from actually Juliana's, my daughter's troop, made ornaments. The baseball team, the kids came out and they put lights around the tree. When my husband came, it was just, I can't even begin to, we still have all of these. And everybody was able to bring something. It was not it wasn't very expensive. It wasn't, it wasn't something that created a great burden on our community, but everybody felt like they could do something, and it was something that we could remember, and they could give my husband just something that he would normally do, but he didn't have the strength to do. And so for that, I'm so grateful. They made our Christmas
awesome.
Amazing.
It's such a two-way, you were saying this earlier, but it's such a two-way street, because you gave them the gift of allowing them to give. And so many people are so wanting not to be a burden and not to, but you let people, when you let people help and let people be a part of your life, that is a beautiful gift also.
You have to let them.
Yeah, otherwise you're hogging all the joy and they don't get to do anything, and that's not very fair. But that's an awesome memory.
That was fun.
It's good. It's so good. So do you want to talk a little bit about what's going to happen in Seneca Falls pretty soon?
We have such an amazing event coming up. And it's actually one that I'm incredibly grateful for because of this opportunity I have with the Girl Scouts. We are putting on our second annual Convention for Women's Rights called Carrying the Torch. It's the Girl Scout Convention on Women's Rights. And what we're doing, last year we had over 1,000 attendees join us in Seneca Falls. We partnered with our friends at the Women's Rights National Historic Park and the National Women's Hall of Fame, Friends of the Park as well, to basically create an immersive experience for girls all across the state to come and really understand what the women of the past have done to pave the way for the girls and the women of today and the future. And I think that what we've done this year is we've expanded upon our idea from last year to basically give girls an opportunity to really learn how to find their own voices, to figure out what are the issues that are most important to them, and to learn how to vote, to learn how to basically gather together and make their voices count. We'll hear from speakers that are nationally known to give their stories about how they found something that they were very passionate about and were able to really basically bring great joy and happiness to people from taking something that they were passionate about and really turning that into something that was both commercially successful and helped the population. So yeah, it's a sisterhood like none other. It's October 5th, 6th, and 7th. Actually, the 6th and 7th are the two major days coming up in Seneca Falls.
That's great.
I love that you're doing that. I love that you're growing that awareness in these young people. It's so important.
There are so few opportunities, I think, or so few organizations specifically designed to help young women find their voices, right? How many do you know of? I mean, there are many organizations that serve youth, and that's a wonderful thing, but who actually thinks about growing young women leaders? I don't know of any other than the Girl Scouts. And that's what makes me so excited. And then this particular event, there's nothing like it. We are unique.
No,
so
it's
I feel really good about it.
That's great. That's awesome.
Yeah, and it's it's awesome to get troops and girls here to Seneca Falls, because many of them haven't been here. Yeah. They probably haven't read about it in their history books in school, but it's important. It's a beautiful, sacred place to be, to really recognize that first convention in 1848, and we can think about how far we've come, but there's still a long way to go. I mean, and even you have an event that's going to be at the church where Alice Paul, pitched the Equal Rights Amendment in 1923. We haven't passed the Equal Rights Amendment yet. Like, right. there's work to do.
Yeah,
there's a lot of work
I'm so excited, and I'm going to be here for the weekend and helping.
Well,
and
can I tell you, I am grateful, to use gratitude, for your involvement, Katie. I mean, there's just the ability to have connections for all these amazing women who have been involved with in Seneca Falls and across the movement, the suffrage movement, people who are keeping the memories of the past alive and tying them here to today and again to the future. Help us connect all the dots for these young girls. It's really hard to feel powerful when you're 12 or 13 or 14. You need to see somebody else out there who's your contemporary, I think, making something happen, and to see women
right.
Actually make a difference is I think very inspiring for them.
Definitely. And it reminds me of something Lisa mentioned before, where she helps leaders develop skills, but also see skills that they already have. And I think that's another thing, at least in my experience with Girl Scouting, because I got to do things that I never would have gotten to do. I rode 30 miles a day, biked the whole entire Cape Cod with my Girl Scout troop. I canoed the Saco River and made pancakes over a campfire, and I went to sleepaway camp every year. But sometimes when you're 12, you don't know what those things look like, and you need someone to shine light on it and say, hey, you are doing these things, and let you as a young person go, oh my gosh, I didn't even know what that was, but yes, I can do that, and I am doing that. And I think it's instilling hope too.
You know what I love too is that we like to say, once a Girl Scout, always a Girl Scout. Certainly you are, I am. And you can become a Girl Scout even if you're an adult. A lot of people don't realize that. You can volunteer to help raise the next generation of leaders. What we found at some of our alum events is that women who have not seen friends from years ago from a camp, they bonded years ago, but they literally, where do you run into people? They've found friendships from at some of these events. My goodness, I haven't seen you. That's just something that, who else would bring these people together? So it's really special. Yeah. There are so many of us. So it's an exciting place to be.
How many Girl Scout alum are there? I mean, millions and millions.
Millions and millions, yeah. All across the world too. And it doesn't matter if you were in Brownies just for 1 year, you're still an alum.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes. So if people want to come and sign up, can you just tell them where they should go?
Yes, it's you just go to www.gsnypenn.org/torch, gsnypenn.org/torch.
And the event's Carry the Torch, October 5th, 6th, and 7th. And it's going to be a beautiful, beautiful event. So
beautiful.
Hopefully we see 2,000 girls this year.
It would be amazing.
That would be great.
That would be great, yeah. Thank you for putting that together and doing that work.
Oh, my pleasure.
It's awesome. So anything else you'd like to share? Any other stories about gratitude that you think the world needs to know about, or about each other, or about work that people can do? Burning thoughts?
Nothing is popping up.
I would like to know, how you got into the Loving Cup podcast in terms of why is gratitude so important to you, Katie?
So I started this podcast last November, and the owner of Finger Lakes One, Jim Sinacropi, is a friend of mine, and he and I were out to lunch, and because we used to bounce some marketing ideas off of each other, and I had told him about this idea, and he was like, I think that's a good idea. I think we could do a podcast. And a lot of it, the motivation was really around all of the negative media and the negative stories. And I was like, there are so many beautiful stories and beautiful people and beautiful connections that's what I would like to help the world see and hear. And I've had guests come on the show from 7 years old to 94 years old. And it's been awesome. And everyone has a beautiful, unique story. And the world needs to hear them. So that's really where it started.
I love that. That is the focus we've been trying to take as well. And I ask you simply because I think there are so many good stories out there. And I think as women, sometimes we forget to tell our stories. Sometimes people think we're boastful, or we are, we're rude when we share information out there. And I think part of my job in this current role is to get out there and to really share those amazing stories of young girls and women that are out there making a difference in the world. And for us to all feel grateful that we've got people who can see something that needs to be done and have the courage to step up and try to make a difference. I mean, whether or not they actually can get through to the end and really achieve their goals, I think is not the be all and end all. I think the fact that you're trying and that you're really putting your effort toward it, you're gathering other people to help you, that means everything. Because as Lisa said, whether you do it or you win or you fail, you learn.
And I hear purpose in that. Like
Yeah.
I hear what I'm hearing under, like the undertone there is when people find their purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like watching you in several different work environments now, but watching you do this work with the Girl Scouts, it's like there's a purpose there. There's a more intention for the world than some of the other things that you've done, and you just have this kind of burning essence of like, get this, move this torch, this, or whatever the project is, just the intention with growing girls. And
They were waiting for her.
Yeah, they were.
They were. So this
The
does.
universe was conspiring in her favor. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So the time always goes quickly. So this does bring us to the end of our time. So I just want to say thank you to Wendy and to Lisa for coming and being guests on the show. So thank you both.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Of course. And we will be back next week with 2 more guests. So until then, please share your gratitude, be well, have a fantastic